Would you trust a game of the season in the hands of a pitcher who repeatedly makes the same mistake? Not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row? Last Friday night at Citi Field in New York, Tanner Scott took the mound with a clear mission: protect a 3-run lead for the Dodgers in the 9th inning. It was a game that, for the fans, already seemed under control. But just 3 poorly executed sequences turned a calm scenario into a technical and strategic nightmare that exposed a much bigger problem behind the scenes of the Los Angeles franchise. With 2 strikes against Starling Marte, Scott threw a fastball that was supposed to cut the inside edge of the zone. But the pitch died in the middle of the plate. A single hit. Against Jeff McNeil, the same story. Count advantage. Another poorly located fastball, this time at the perfect height for contact. And the result was a 2-run triple. With the score now 3-2, Tyrone Taylor came up next. 2 strikes again, and again Scott missed his location. The slider stayed right in the middle of the zone. Result? Another single. Game tied. What should have been a straightforward victory turned into a 13-inning marathon. And although the Dodgers walked away with the win, the feeling was of a silent defeat. The bullpen came out exhausted, burning arms at a point in the season when every inning counts. And the question that dominated the headlines the next day was inevitable. What is happening with Tanner Scott? To understand this crisis, we need to look back. The Dodgers were aggressive in the market when they signed the elite left-hander, handing over $72 million for his services. The idea was clear. With Evan Phillips established Despite as a still closer, playing at a high level, Scott will be a complementary weapon,
short-term
a near closer, ready to take on high-pressure situations and add depth to the bullpen. But Phillips's injury disrupted that plan, and Scott, from a supporting piece, became a central figure. At first, he delivered. 9 saves and 11 attempts, an ERA under 2.00, commanding the strike zone well and limiting walks. It was everything the Dodgers expected, until the pattern started to collapse. In recent games, what stands out the most is the pattern collapses against the D-backs. He also gave up 2 home runs in a game that forced extra innings. Against the Mets, the script repeated almost pitch for pitch. The coaching staff saw it, the fans saw it, and Scott himself refuses to see it. When asked about the increase in pitches thrown inside the strike zone, the highest of his career, he replied coldly, "I don't even look at that." But the Dodgers are watching very closely. Mark Pryor, the pitching coach, explained what is happening in an almost didactic way. Scott is being too much inside the zone. 58.1% of his pitches are located in the strike zone, a sharp rise from 52.4% last year. And although that might sound positive to a fundamentals coach, elite baseball punishes those who become predictable. Batters don't forgive when they spot patterns. And in Scott's case, the pattern is clear: advantage in the count, fastball inside the zone. The result? 80% of swings against him are resulting in contact. And not just any contact. The average exit velocity of the hits is 91.7 miles per hour, one of the highest in the league. In practice, it's as if the hitters know what's coming and are ready to hit hard. This shows up in internal talks among the coaching staff. Pryor is already talking about accepting more walks if necessary so Scott can get out of the zone in favorable counts. It's counterintuitive to ask a pitcher to miss more, but it's a survival adjustment. Manager Dave Roberts acknowledged that, in recent games, Scott failed to protect important leads, but at the same time, try to ease criticism. To be fair to him, the other guys have been used much more, and he's one of the few available. And here the crisis takes on another layer, because Scott's failure doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens amid a physical collapse of the Dodgers bullpen. Evan Phillips, the main closer, has been out for 3 weeks, and the return that was supposed to last 15 days has now become a cause for concern. Blake Trinan, Kirby Yates, and Michael Kopech are also injured. Yates and Trinan have started light throwing programs. Kopech is rehabbing in the minors, but none of them are anywhere close to returning. The team is living its worst-case scenario for a contender, a patched-up bullpen, forced to throw more innings than planned, with an improvised closer who has already shown he's not reliable under pressure. Scott still has tools. His fastball remains solid, although it dropped from 156.1 kilometers per hour to 154.1 kilometers per hour this year. His control has also improved. He's missing less, with a walk rate of 26.6%, compared to a career average of 34.7%. But it's a cruel paradox. He's missing less, but missing where he can't, in the middle of the zone, in counts where he should have the advantage. Roberts has been repeating the word hope frequently in recent days. I'm getting a little worried about Phillips, but hoping for the best. He knows that without Phillips, without Trinan, without Yates, and with Scott unstable, the team will pay a high price until the end of the season. The bullpen is being burned out game after game, and that, on a team dreaming of October, is a ticking time bomb. Baseball is a game of adjustments. A poorly executed slider can cost a game, but an uncorrected pattern can cost an entire season. Tanner Scott is at a critical moment in his Dodgers career. Either he adjusts, or he will be remembered as the arm that silently imploded one of the most expensive rosters in MLB history. Now I want to hear from you. Should the Dodgers keep trusting Scott as the go-to man in late innings? Or is it time to look for another solution, even if that means making a trade or completely changing the bullpen plan? Leave your comment. And while Tanner Scott faces his technical crisis under the eyes of the world, a new shadow begins to form behind the mound. A shadow coming from the Dodgers clubhouse. Have you ever stopped to think how a single trade can change the course of an entire season? The Los Angeles Dodgers, a team used to shining under the spotlight, now stand at crossroads. With a pitching staff devastated by injuries, the urgency is real, and the search for an immediate solution intensifies with every passing day. But could a lesser-known name, a talent who so far has raised more doubts than certainties, be the missing piece to this puzzle? Reid Detmers, from the Los Angeles Angels, is at the center of the speculation that could shake both sides of the city. What's behind this move? And what can we expect if this trade really happens? Historically, the Dodgers have never shied away from bold decisions that change the franchise's trajectory. Whether bringing icons like Clayton Kershaw to the mound or making strategic trades that strengthen the team at crucial moments, the front office has a habit of acting fast when they realize the clock is ticking against them. In recent years, the team has established itself as a National League powerhouse, always with a deep roster prepared for the long grind of the MLB season. But even the best don't escape the unexpected. This year, the scenario changed. Injuries piled up, and with them, the pressure to find solutions both inside and outside the trade market. The search for a reliable pitcher who can deliver important innings has become an absolute priority. In this context, the possibility of acquiring a talent they already know, who is close by and can be obtained at a relatively low price, lights a beacon of hope. Despite still playing a gamble accompanied by great represents a short-term. Before we continue, I want to invite you to join this exclusive club that follows every detail of trades, rumors, and the hottest behind-the-scenes sports news. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. You want to be ahead when the official news breaks, because here we bring everything first without missing a detail. Now, let's get to what really matters. Reid Detmers is not a new name for those who follow MLB, but he's certainly a player who generates controversy. Since his debut in 2021, he has fluctuated between moments of brilliance and worrisome phases. In 2022, as a starter in 25 games, he showed a respectable 3.77 ERA, demonstrating he had a potential to be an important piece in the Angels' rotation. However, starting in 2023, the scenario changed drastically. His performance declined, with an alarming ERA of 6.70, even as the Angels opted to use him more in the bullpen than as a starter. This year, the outlook didn't improve, presenting a 7.52 ERA and leaving doubts about his effectiveness in crucial moments. Nevertheless, despite these poor numbers, his combination of fastball and slider still impresses pitching quality models, which highlight latent potential that could be unlocked. And it's precisely this combination that the Dodgers see as an opportunity. A player who, despite recent struggles, has mechanics and a repertoire that, if adjusted, could yield great results for the team. But what is the real situation for the Dodgers? They face a complicated dilemma. The team suffered a string of injuries to their pitching staff, including starters and relievers who were considered key pieces for the final stretch. The lack of depth has begun to take its toll with tight games, excessive wear on available players, and a noticeable loss of consistency on the mound. This situation makes the search for reinforcements not just a strategic matter, but an urgent necessity. Reid Detmers emerges as a low-risk, high-potential option with a long contract. He is under team control through 2028, and projections estimate a robust contract, possibly 8 years and over $100 million when he hits free agency. That's why acquiring him now, while his value is down, could be a masterstroke for the Dodgers. They could bet that, with some adjustments and confidence, Detmers returns to the level he showed in 2022, or at least becomes a useful piece as a long reliever or swingman, protecting the arms of their main pitchers and helping the team get through this critical period. On the other side of the city, the Angels are going through a tough moment. With a record 25 wins and 28 losses, the team seems to be headed toward a cellar roll at the trade deadline. For them, parting ways with a player who hasn't fully met expectations could be a way to recover assets, adjust the roster, and prepare for the future. Reid Detmers, despite his unstable performance, is still seen as a valuable asset. However, his recent poor output lowers the price he can fetch on the market. This makes a potential trade a scenario where both teams could find benefits. The Angels clear space and receive compensation, while the Dodgers take on a calculated risk that might bring significant returns. Behind this negotiation, the strategy goes far beyond the numbers. It's a delicate dance between need, opportunity, and risk assessment. The Dodgers need to balance the cost of giving up potential talents or future picks in exchange for a player who may or may not regain his best form. The Angels, meanwhile, must decide whether it's worth keeping a player who isn't performing as expected or using that asset to gain compensation that helps in retooling the team. Meanwhile, agents, coaches, and executives work tirelessly to close the best possible deal, knowing the trade deadline is fast approaching and decisions made now can define the immediate future of both franchises. So, what are the possibilities going forward? If Detmers joins the Dodgers, even if he doesn't return to being a dominant pitcher, he will have immense strategic value. He could be the arm that relieves bullpen pressure, the player who starts games in emergencies, or the versatile piece that keeps the team competitive amid injuries. That might be the difference between pushing hard into the playoffs or folding under pressure. On the other hand, if the trade doesn't happen, the Dodgers will have to pursue more expensive and riskier alternatives, facing the reality of a thin and worn-out roster. This choice could directly impact the team's performance in the crucial moments of the season. You, the fan who follows every detail, what do you think? Is Reid Detmers a talent worthy of a second chance with the Dodgers, or is he a risk that could cost dearly in the end? Leave your opinion in the comments and join this conversation that's just getting started. And stay tuned, because the next video will bring new information and possibly more rumors involving these two franchises that already lived a fierce rivalry. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to keep getting exclusive content like this. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any chapter of this saga that promises to shake up MLB until the end of the season. See you in the next video, where we will uncover the next moves in this game that's far from over